You might be a criminal right now and not even know it. In some states, simple acts like slurping soup or misusing a bathtub can land you in handcuffs. We've dug through the archives to find the most insane, illogical, and downright hilarious statutes that are technically still enforceable today. Forget logic. This is the legal system gone wild. Here are the 50 dumbest laws in America. 1. In Connecticut, a pickle isn't legally a pickle unless it possesses the physical properties of a rubber ball. This isn't a joke, it's case law. In 1948, officials arrested pickle packers for selling unfit produce. To prove the case, a state official dropped a cucumber in court. It splatted. He declared that a real pickle must bounce when dropped from the height of 1 foot. Since then, the bounce test stands as the state's bizarre, gravity-defying gold standard for edible quality control. 2. Utah enforces a law so philosophically vague it belongs in a Kafka novel. It is illegal to cause a catastrophe. The terrifying part is the lack of definition. Did you trip and knock over a wedding cake? Catastrophe. Did you burn popcorn in the office microwave? Probably a catastrophe. It is the ultimate legal catch-all, theoretically allowing the state to prosecute you for any clumsy accident or social faux pas that a judge decides is just too disastrous to ignore. 3. Deep in the heart of Texas, the penal code explicitly forbids milking another person's cow. This isn't just a matter of theft. It's a specific crime against dairy. The existence of this law implies that at some point, unauthorized udder squeezing was a rampant issue. It paints a hilarious picture of the Wild West where, instead of stealing horses, outlaws were sneaking into pastures with buckets, desperate for a fresh glass of milk before the sheriff caught them. 4. In New Jersey, enjoying your dinner too enthusiastically is a criminal offense. An old ordinance makes it illegal to slurp your soup in public. In the land of 1,000 diners, this is a direct attack on comfort food. It demands that you consume your chicken noodle with the silent precision of a surgeon. Apparently, local lawmakers decided that the sound of liquid suction was so offensive to public decency that it warranted police intervention and a potential fine. 5. Idaho has a legal standard for romance that borders on weightlifting. A law prohibits a man from giving his sweetheart a box of candy weighing less than 50 pounds. A standard Russell Stover box? That's an insult. You need a forklift to show your affection legally. Unless you are gifting a sugar supply capable of inducing a diabetic coma for an entire village, the state considers your romantic gesture insufficient and, quite frankly, criminal. 6. Alaska has a very specific rule for hunting etiquette. It is illegal to whisper in someone's ear while they are hunting moose. It sounds random, but visualize the logic. You are stalking a 200-pound beast with a high-powered rifle. The absolute last thing you need is a buddy breathing a secret into your ear canal. It's a safety regulation disguised as a manners rule, designed to prevent startled hunters from accidentally shooting their whispering friends. 7. Maryland protects the delicate sensibilities of a very specific group, oyster shuckers. It is illegal to use profane language with an employee of an oyster packing house. You can curse at a banker, but don't you dare drop an F-bomb near the shellfish. This law implies a history of incredibly heated, foul-mouthed disputes over seafood quality. One has to wonder what kind of clam-based crisis occurred to necessitate a government ban on swearing at the docks. 8. In Hawaii, there is a law that forbids you from placing coins in your ears. This isn't about fashion. It's a ban on using your head as a piggy bank. Was there a rash of failed magic tricks? Did people keep getting nickels stuck in their canals? It is a beautifully pointless piece of legislation that suggests lawmakers got tired of paying for emergency room visits to extract small change from the ears of tourists and locals alike. 9. Arizona forbids a donkey from sleeping in a bathtub, and the reason is pure comedy gold. In the 1920s, a rancher's donkey liked to nap in a tub. When a local dam burst, the floodwaters took the donkey, still in the tub, on a wild ride down the valley. The rescue was so expensive and ridiculous that the state banned the practice entirely. They aren't hating on hygiene. They're just trying to prevent another whitewater rafting livestock disaster. 10. North Carolina treats bingo like a dangerous endurance sport. State law mandates that a single bingo session cannot last longer than 5 hours. This suggests the existence of underground marathon gambling rings where seniors refuse to leave until they hit the jackpot. The government had to step in and set a hard time limit to ensure that grandma goes home to sleep rather than playing for 36 hours straight in a dauber-fueled frenzy. 11. If you're planning a movie night in Baltimore, leave the king of the jungle at home. It is explicitly illegal to take a lion to a cinema within city limits. A dog? Maybe. A ferret? Possibly. But the city draws a hard line at apex predators. This law implies a chaotic history where someone actually tried to buy a ticket for Mufasa. Imagine the sheer terror of trying to share an armrest with a 400-pound cat while the usher tries to enforce the "no roaring during the movie" policy. 12. Dublin, Georgia, has a traffic law that is confusingly specific. It is illegal to drive your car through a playground. That sounds like basic common sense, but the law creates a bizarre loophole. It doesn't mention baseball fields or football stadiums. Technically, under this statute, you are legally clear to do donuts on the pitcher's mound as long as you stay away from the swing set. It's a rule that says, think of the children, but feels perfectly fine with destroying the outfield turf. 13. Nevada highways have a ban on dromedaries. It is illegal to ride a camel on public roads. This isn't a random joke. It's a relic of the U.S. Army's failed Camel Corps experiment in the 1800s. When the military abandoned the project, they let the camels loose. These humped beasts terrified local horses and caused traffic chaos, forcing the state to intervene. It's a law that proves the Wild West was significantly weirder than any cowboy movie ever showed us. 14. Wilbur, Washington, is a hostile environment for the aesthetically challenged. It is technically illegal to ride an ugly horse into town. This raises so many questions. Who is the judge? Is there an equine beauty pageant at the city limits? It is the most shallow law in America, subjecting innocent animals to body-shaming legislation. If your stallion has a crooked nose or a bad haircut, you are a criminal. It's petty, it's mean, and it's legally binding. 15. Louisiana takes its state symbols seriously, perhaps too seriously. It is widely cited that you cannot unduly harass a crawfish, which technically includes telling it a joke. The state is protecting the emotional well-being of a creature destined for a boiling pot. The idea that a crustacean could feel insulted by a bad pun is hilarious, but the law stands. In the bayou, you can eat them, but you absolutely cannot hurt their feelings before dinner. 16. In Kentucky, carrying an ice cream cone in your back pocket is a crime. This sounds like a ban on messy laundry, but it's actually a genius 19th century anti-theft statute. Clever thieves used to tuck a cone in their pocket so a horse would follow them away, licking the treat. If caught, the thief could claim, "I didn't steal him, he followed me." The law closed the Pied Piper of Ponies loophole, proving that ice cream is indeed a gateway crime. 17. Chicagoans are known for their dedication to food, but the city had to draw a line. It is illegal to continue eating in a restaurant that is on fire. This law paints a vivid picture of a patron so committed to a deep dish pizza that they refused to evacuate while the building burned down around them. It transforms dine and dash into dine or die. The government literally had to legislate the survival instinct because the ribs were just that good. 18. In the chic town of Carmel, California, fashion requires paperwork. It is illegal to wear high heels with a base smaller than 1 square inch unless you have a permit. Yes, a license to strut. The town's uneven pavement and tree roots caused so many tripping lawsuits that the city banned stilettos to avoid liability. You can still wear them, but you have to sign a waiver at City Hall first, effectively assuming all risk for your ankle stability. 19. Pennsylvania has a very specific prohibition on napping spots. It is illegal to sleep on top of a refrigerator, but only if it is outdoors. Sleeping on an indoor fridge? Totally fine. But once you move that appliance to the porch, it becomes a crime scene. This implies a strangely high number of people using warm appliance motors as beds under the stars. It's a law that solves a problem most of us didn't know existed until the state banned it. 20. Oklahoma is landlocked, dry, and hundreds of miles from the ocean, yet it is strictly illegal to go whaling there. Lawmakers likely copied a maritime code from another state without reading it, resulting in a ban on hunting Moby Dick in the middle of the Great Plains. It is the ultimate example of bureaucratic copy-pasting gone wrong. Rest assured, the non-existent whales of the Arkansas River are safe, thanks to the vigilance of the Oklahoma legislature. 21. Florida has strict rules for thrill-seeking based on your relationship status. If you are a single woman, it is illegal to parachute on a Sunday. Married women? Go for it. Men? No problem. But unattached ladies falling from the sky on the Sabbath was apparently a moral crisis. This relic implies that a single woman plummeting to earth was considered a scandal so profound it threatened the very fabric of society, whereas a wife doing the same was just good, clean fun. 22. California has a traffic law straight out of a 1950s sitcom script. It is illegal for a woman to drive a car while wearing a housecoat. A man in a bathrobe can cruise down the highway, but a woman in her morning attire is a menace to society. The legislature seemingly decided that the combination of steering wheels and dressing gowns created a unique, catastrophic danger that required immediate government intervention to keep the streets safe from comfortable fabrics. 23. Vermont's biggest threat isn't snowstorms or maple syrup shortages, it's giraffe-based vandalism. It is illegal to tie a giraffe to a telephone pole. This is a brilliant solution to a problem that has never existed in the history of the state. There are no wild giraffes in Vermont. Yet, a lawmaker was so terrified of long-necked African mammals disrupting the telecommunications grid that they drafted, debated, and passed a bill to stop it. It's legislative anxiety at its finest. 24. In Pennsylvania, you can get your fortune told, but the psychic better be doing it for charity. It is illegal for a fortune teller to accept money for their services. They can predict your death, talk to your dead cat, or read your palm, but it has to be pro bono. This law effectively turns mysticism into a volunteer hobby. The real magic trick isn't seeing the future. It's figuring out how to pay rent when your job is legally required to be free. 25. Florida is basically one giant beach party, which makes this law hilariously hypocritical. It is illegal to sing in a public place while wearing a swimsuit. You can wear the swimsuit. You can sing. But doing both simultaneously is a crime. This effectively bans every musical montage in beach movie history. It's as if the state looked in the mirror and said, "We are having too much fun. Let's make joy punishable by a fine." 26. Minnesota gives us the Mona Lisa of unexplained laws. It is illegal to cross state lines with a duck on your head. Not a chicken, not a goose, a duck. And specifically, on your head. This isn't a metaphor. The specificity implies a bizarre historical precedent. Was there a hat-based waterfowl smuggling ring? A trend of avian millinery that went too far? We may never know, but the image of a Border Patrol agent checking for head ducks is comedy gold. 27. Nebraska protects you from a very specific sensory nightmare. It is illegal for a barber to eat onions between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. This isn't just polite advice, it is a mandate. It paints a horrifying picture of a time when barbers were breathing straight fire into their customers' faces during a shave. The state intervened to ensure that your haircut doesn't come with a side of tear-inducing onion breath asphyxiation. It's public health policy at its most oddly specific. 28. In Detroit, if your radio breaks, don't smash it. It is illegal to willfully destroy a radio. This sounds silly, but it's actually a Cold War relic. The government wanted to ensure every household could receive emergency broadcasts in case of a nuclear attack. So, smashing your stereo wasn't just a temper tantrum. It was a threat to national security. It's a dumb-sounding law with a surprisingly grim, apocalyptic backstory designed to keep you informed during the end of the world. 29. Utah's devotion to the dairy industry reached a level of legal insanity. It is technically illegal not to drink milk. While they can't force-feed you, this old statute was part of a massive promotional push that morphed into a mandate. It stands as a monument to the power of big milk. In Utah, "Got milk?" wasn't a marketing slogan. It was a civic duty. The state basically tried to criminalize lactose intolerance to boost agricultural sales. 30. Maine is famous for banning billboards to preserve its scenery, but they have another rule that is far more concerning. It is illegal to bite your landlord. The fact that this specific act of violence had to be legislated suggests that tenant disputes in Maine were getting incredibly primal. It's a law that essentially says, "We know rent is high, but please do not resort to cannibalism to settle your lease agreement." 31. North Carolina has a law that sounds like it was written by a fun-hating bureaucrat. It is illegal for an organization to hold a meeting if all members are in costume. Sorry, Star Trek fan clubs. Apologies, historical reenactors. If you all dress up, you are breaking the law. This bizarre rule targets the very soul of enthusiast culture, effectively making it a crime to be a nerd in a group setting. It's the "no fun allowed" sign turned into a state statute. 32. The border between North and South Dakota is a straight line, but its history is explosive. For a brief period, it was illegal to set off fireworks specifically on the state line. A joint resolution banned it. This implies there was some kind of pyrotechnic border war happening. Were people standing on the line firing Roman candles at each other? We don't know, but the image of a bi-state fireworks ban suggests a level of interstate pettiness that is truly spectacular. 33. Delaware has a law that saves you from your own stupidity. It is illegal to get married if the proposal was made on a dare. This means that drunkenly daring your buddy to marry a stranger isn't just a bad idea, it's legally void. The state apparently dealt with so many joke weddings that they had to step in. It creates a hilarious courtroom scene where a lawyer has to argue, "Your Honor, the groom shouted, 'YOLO!' So this marriage is null and void." 34. In Michigan, parking enforcement gets prehistoric. It is explicitly illegal to tie a crocodile or alligator to a fire hydrant. Not a bike, not a dog. A large aquatic reptile. This law implies a history where firefighters rolled up to a blaze, only to be blocked by a tethered apex predator. It suggests that at some point, the city's biggest problem wasn't the fire itself, but rather the cold-blooded scaling obstruction guarding the water supply. It's a rule that answers a question nobody should ever have to ask. 35. In Blythe, California, fashion isn't about taste, it's about livestock assets. You are legally required to own at least 2 cows before you can wear cowboy boots in public. This is the ultimate form of agricultural gatekeeping. The town essentially criminalized all hat, no cattle. They are protecting the brand integrity of the American cowboy by ensuring that if you dress the part, you actually have the bovine portfolio to back it up. Posers beware, show us the beef or take off the boots. 36. South Dakota enforces a law that sounds like a fever dream. It is illegal to fall asleep in a cheese factory. This intersects workplace safety with dairy appreciation. Sure, heavy machinery is dangerous, but the law feels more like an insult to the craft. Dozing off amidst the aging cheddar is a slap in the face to the cheesemakers. The state demands you stay awake and alert, treating the production of Swiss and Gouda with the reverence and consciousness it rightfully deserves. 37. In Youngstown, Ohio, your bad day can legally get worse. It is a punishable offense to run out of gas within city limits. Most of us feel shame when the engine sputters. Youngstown adds a court date to the mix. It isn't just about blocking traffic. It's a legislative attack on poor planning. The city looks at you, stranded on the shoulder, hazard lights flashing, and decides that what you really need in this moment is not a jerry can, but a ticket. 38. Jonesboro, Georgia, polices your vocabulary in the weirdest way possible. It is technically illegal to utter the phrase, "oh boy." We aren't talking about cursing. We're talking about a mild expression of surprise found in every comic book from the 1950s. Did a local politician have a phobia of Mickey Mouse catchphrases? Was it used mockingly one too many times? The origins are a mystery, but in Jonesboro, you better find a different way to express your mild astonishment or face the wrath of the law. 39. Laws are supposed to be timeless, but sometimes they age like milk. The New Mexico state constitution still technically contains a provision denying the vote to idiots. It's important to note that back in the 19th century, this was an actual clinical term, not just a playground insult. While federal protections have long since rendered this offensive clause null and void, the text itself remains, a dusty, awkward fossil of a bygone era that the state really needs to get around to deleting. 40. Connecticut demands high moral standards for its apiarists. It is illegal for anyone deemed unsuitable to own bees. The law never defines what unsuitable means. Do you have a bad temper? Do you listen to loud music? Are you rude to the queen? It's a law that bases your right to farm honey on a subjective character assessment. Apparently, the state believes that bees are excellent judges of character and refuses to let them live with anyone who has bad vibes. 41. New York City, the city that never sleeps, ironically has a curfew for your footwear. It is illegal to wear slippers in public after 10 p.m. This likely stems from old tenement noise laws, trying to stop the clomping of cheap soles on wooden floors. But the result is a law that empowers a theoretical fashion police to raid late-night bodegas, issuing citations to anyone trying to buy milk while wearing fuzzy bunny slippers. It's the only place where comfort is a crime. 42. In Washington state, storefront marketing has a strict boundary. It is illegal to display a hypnotized person in a shop window. This law is a glorious time capsule from the early 1900s, an era rife with traveling mesmerizers and snake oil salesmen. Retailers were apparently using entranced victims as living mannequins to draw crowds. The government had to step in and say, "Look, sell your shoes, but please stop using mind-controlled citizens as props." 43. Tennessee has outlawed the most impressive fishing technique ever invented. It is strictly illegal to catch a fish using a lasso. This feels like a personal attack on cowboy ingenuity. If you have the hand-eye coordination to rope a trout underwater, you don't deserve a fine. You deserve a trophy. The state legislature looked at the theoretical sport of aquatic rodeo and decided to shut it down before it could even begin, crushing the dreams of rodeo anglers everywhere. 44. Massachusetts holds onto its Puritan roots with a grip of steel. An old law mandates that you cannot snore unless all bedroom windows and doors are securely locked. The logic is impeccably grumpy. Your nasal congestion is a public nuisance. The state doesn't care if you have sleep apnea, as long as you contain the noise within your own four walls. It's a law that essentially tells you to suffocate in a sealed room, rather than annoy the neighbors. 45. If you are foraging in New Hampshire, check your watch. It is illegal to collect seaweed from the beach at night. Daylight kelp gathering? Totally fine. But once the sun sets, that algae is protected property. This implies a shady history of nocturnal seaweed heists. Was there a black market for fertilizer? A gang of rogue sushi chefs? We'll never know, but the state remains vigilant against the threat of after-hours beach salad theft. 46. Alabama has a zero-tolerance policy for ecclesiastical comedy. It is illegal to wear a fake mustache in church, but only if it causes laughter. If your disguise is somber and convincing, you might be in the clear. But if you crack up the choir, you're a criminal. This law targets the specific class clown who treated Sunday service like an open mic night. It's a rule designed to protect the sanctity of the sermon from the threat of cheap Groucho Marx impressions. 47. Oregon anglers beware. The pantry is off limits. It is illegal to use canned corn as bait when fishing for trout. Not worms, not flies, but specifically the green giant's finest kernels. It's a bizarrely specific regulation. Did the fish get too fat? Did the cans litter the riverbanks? Whatever the reason, the State Fish and Wildlife Department declared a war on side dishes, demanding that trout be caught with dignity, not with the ingredients of a shepherd's pie. 48. Wyoming enforces the strangest privacy law in the animal kingdom. It is illegal to take a picture of a rabbit between January and April without an official permit. This isn't about hunting, it's about photography. The law effectively protects bunnies from the paparazzi during their mating season. The reasoning is lost to history, but the result is clear. For 4 months a year, the rabbits of Wyoming enjoy a legally mandated blackout period from your Instagram feed. We've just proven that sanity is not a requirement for public office. Now, I'm handing the gavel to you. I want you to be a petty tyrant. If you had absolute power, what one harmless, everyday annoyance would you make punishable by immediate prison time? People who walk slowly in groups? Loud chewers? Write your dream law in the comments. If this video kept you out of jail, destroy that like button and subscribe for more madness.